The prairie falcon makes little fuss over the capture of small game. That is to say, over the capture of game smaller than itself. It simply materializes out of the blue and it picks up a gopher or a smaller bird the way that you or I would pluck a flower. Now, its approach has no doubt been well calculated. The falcon, from a height of, half a mile to a mile, it controls its descent through a slight opening of the wings. Now, this is to check the cadence and intent of the victim. Yes. The final plunge, therefore, has the speed and accuracy of fate. Now, in the case of game larger than itself, the quarry is knocked headlong by a crashing blow to the skull. When its nest has been disturbed, the huge bird will fly high into the air, and then it will turn for the vicious attack. Now, it is a bold, strong, and fearless fighter, but it is shy, weary, and secretive when it has been threatened or subject to molestation. Like most other hawks, it likes to sit on dead trees and other conspicuous perches that offer it a wide outlook over the domain which it considers to be its own. Now, as this is our first trip into the field, I will remind you of a few of our prime birding rules. First, we must be as quiet as possible so as not to disturb our prey. And second, we must try to blend into our environment as naturally as possible. And finally, we must watch our step. There are channels and culverts in the marshes which could cause serious injury if you were to fall into them. All right then, let's move out to the cars and I'll meet you in a moment.
From the vantage point of the crowded press box, we saw them enter. Leopold, dark and brooding, shifting impatiently as his handcuffs were removed. Low, bright, and airy, flashing his killer smile, and cutting his way through the courtroom like an expert tango dancer. July 21st, 1924. Leopold and Loeb trial begins today.
The temperature in the packed courtroom soared to a stifling 97 degrees, but Leopold and Loeb appeared oblivious to the heat and looked disarmingly spry in their perfectly tailored suits and Valentino slick hair.
If not for the innumerable sheriffs gathered around them, one could well imagine them being here, doing research for a college paper on the workings of the Hall of Justice. Clarence Darrow, attorney to the defense, entered the courtroom loaded down with his weathered law books, his battered, old briefcase, bearing the scars of his numerous courtroom brawls.
While State's Attorney Robert Crowe stopped in, a slick symphony of sinewy ambitions. At last all is silent, and the trial of the century is suddenly upon us.
The people of the state of Illinois versus Nathan Leopold Jr. and Richard Lowe for the crime of murder before the Honorable Judge John R. Cavally in the Criminal Court of Cook County at the July term, A.D. 1924.
Do Ubermensch dance?
I beg your pardon?
Do Ubermensch dance?
Are you going to take this seriously or not?
Oh, yes. Please, go on.
The Ubermensch, the Superman, as Nietzsche envisioned him, is aloof to the petty concerns of mankind. He must recognize his superiority and exercise his free will without regards for the feelings of the rest of humanity. Now, he's earned the right to this supreme indifference through his advanced status. He is exempt from the laws that bind the common run of humanity. He lives in a realm that transcends the body politic.
Above.
Yes, above humanity. The Superman's mind and soul are filled with noble thoughts and profound philosophies that would blind normal people. Now, he feels no obligation to be limited by the social, religious, and moral conventions of his contemporaries. Their paltry laws and ethics pale to insignificance before him. So you begin to understand the awesome responsibility of the Ubermensch.
To live up to his exalted potential. Yes. To be remembered.
Yes.
To stun the world.
Yes.
All right, Professor. Lesson's over. Now it's my turn to play teacher.
No.
Come on now. You promised. And 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Are you counting, babe?
I'm counting in my head.
Apparently your feet can't hear. How about letting me lead? You can't even follow yet.
Well, yes, but I wouldn't have to follow.
Oh. But now you can.
Your Honor, I ask you to look at these two young men. I ask you to look at their expensively cut suits, their slicked back hair, and the smirks on their faces. I ask you to consider the way they've deported themselves in this court, their every action a mockery of these proceedings. Consider how they must have smiled as they methodically stalked the streets of Kenwood in search of their victim. Consider their smiles as they seduced little Bobby Franks into their car and mercilessly beat him to death. As they stripped the body, as they pushed him into that sewer, consider their smiles.
Ah, Jermaine.
Dick, you're on time.
My little gold digger.
Dick, you're nuts.
Only nuts for you, sweetest.
Oh, hello.
Oh, Jermaine. This is my best chum in all the world. Nathan Leopold.
Gosh, it's nice to finally meet you.
Oh, gosh, you two.
Now don't let those big bug eyes scare you off. Babe's really a great guy.
Babe?
That's what I call him.
It's sort of a nickname, Miss Reinhardt.
Mr. Reinhardt, my ass. Call her Jermaine.
As you like.
You have to call him Babe. He's my best. And you two have to be the best of pals, okay?
Dick, could I, talk to you for a second?
Sure, what's up?
Oh, it seems the young lady would like a moment alone.
Alone?
Yes, well,
Well, perhaps I should go.
Don't be silly. What's up, Jermaine?
Well, Dick, it's just that I thought we were gonna have,
Oh, a pleasant evening alone?
well, yes.
How quaint.
Oh, stop it. Babe can come along, can't he? He really is the greatest guy. Really. Truly. Now, would I lie to you? How could I lie to those big brown eyes? And can we please get going? The night is young, and we're only getting older by the moment. I thought we could go by the Drake and have
But
a few...
Dick, we promised Max and Gladys.
Oh, fuck Max and Gladys.
Dick!
I mean, they're no fun. Are they? Babe, you really should meet them, though. Troglodytes, both.
It's just that we promised.
I promised Babe, too.
Dick, you said that.
And I promised Babe first.
Okay. Why don't you two go on then?
You sure it's okay?
Sure.
Truly?
Sure.
Alright then, honey. Call me tomorrow early in the AM. But not too early. Have fun with Max and Gladys.
It truly was a pleasure to meet you, Miss Reinhardt.
Your Honor, I ask you to tear those superior smirks from their faces. I ask you to send a message across the land that we will not stand for this capricious disregard for the morality and the laws of our country. I ask you for the extreme penalty, for death.
Hiya, sport. How you doing?
Just grand.
Okay, Nietzsche. So here's the plan.
All right.
You're gonna love this. So we go to Lincoln Park and we wait until some poor Joe is passing, and then pow! We walk up like we got gats on our coats, and I say, "Listen, mister, you give us your wallet, or my ugly friend here, that's you, will drill ya." And you look all tough and quiet, okay? You can be quiet for 10 minutes, babe.
You know,
and then you snarl at him or something. And I say, "Looky here, bub. My pal's got an itchy trigger finger, so give over with the loot, but pronto." So then he gives us his wallet. And then maybe we rough him up a bit, just to make it all look real.
It sounds pretty real to me.
Yeah. I got handkerchiefs in my car so we can hide our faces.
Handkerchiefs?
Sure. Don't you ever read anything besides Shakespeare, babe? We gotta have handkerchiefs so he can't finger us to the cops.
Hey, wait a minute.
Oh, come on now. It'll be a hoot. Some poor nobody gets the shit scared out of him. We get maybe $50. We'll look for someone with real slick threads. Patent leathers, too.
Dick, I'm not really sure about this.
What do you mean?
Well, can't we do something else?
Bridge again? Oh, or maybe you want to go bird watching. Grow up, babe.
But what if the police were to catch
The
us?
cops are a bunch of flatfoot louts and you know it. They'll be a piece of cake.
I'm just not sure about this.
Afraid, babe?
No, but it's pointless.
Wrong. It's the only thing that has a point. You're pathetic. Some Superman.
Wait, Dick, don't go.
If you can't take it, then just forget it. I'll find someone else who's good for a few laughs. You're useless. I could just kill you like that. You're nothing.
Wait, I'm sorry, all right? I just don't know about this.
What's to know? You and me, boya. What couldn't we do if we wanted?
I'm just not interested in robbery.
What are you interested in then? You do this, and you'll find it very fulfilling. I promise you. Just think of the way that poor sucker will look at us. Blinded by us. We can make him do anything we want. He would be in our power. Our absolute power, babe. Philosophies are meant to be lived. Think about it, kiddo.
Nathan, could you describe for me, please, the condition of the body when you placed it in the culvert?
Condition?
Yes.
Deceased.
Physically, please. The condition of the body.
There was a small, sharp wound, 3/4 of an inch in length on the right side of the cranium near the hairline. A second wound could be found on the left side, an inch above the supraorbital nerve.
And the back of the head. Did you notice?
There were 2 sharp wounds on the right side, and both in the parietal region, both running longitudinally for about 1/2 inch. The deepest of these, which I assume was from the first blow, was on the left side of the cranium, equally between the sagittal and lambdoidal sutures. There was also some swelling and bruises.
On the back of the head.
Yes,
And these wounds were caused by the chisel?
they were.
I see. Now go on. Tell me the condition of the face.
The pigmentation of the face was discolored to a, oh, what would you say?
A pleasant copper color.
Yes, discolored to a pleasant copper color, as far down as the mouth. Now, I assume this was from the irritant that we had poured on it to disfigure the face.
Irritant?
Yes.
And what was that irritant, Nathan?
Hydrochloric acid.
Hydrochloric acid. Yeah, thank you. Allow me, if you will, to read a section from the coroner's report. On examining the torso, I discovered several small scratches extending from the right shoulder blade to the buttocks and a few superficial scratches on the forehead. The rectum could easily admit one middle finger. On opening the body, I found a dark discoloration extending down the windpipe into the right lung as far as the diaphragm, caused by the absorption of fumes and suffocation. It is our expert view that Robert Franks came to his death from an injury to the head, complicated by suffocation.
Sounds about right.
Was there a lot of blood?
Not an inordinate amount.
Someone defenseless.
Someone weak.
How about one of our fathers? We could say it was an act of consanguineous revenge.
I am truly ashamed of having allied myself with such an ignorant gang. Now think. If you were to kidnap your own father, you would be thrust, so to speak, into the public eye. You would be an immediate suspect. Young millionaire kidnaps own father. Could it be consanguineous revenge?
I bow to your superior wisdom.
As ever. What we need is some weak little fellow whose father has bags and bags of cash just lying around the palatal estate.
Some young fellow.
Yes.
How about your brother?
No. Too many eager policemen hunting about the house. They might just find that one tiny incriminating clue that had escaped us.
Unlikely.
Besides, it might upset Mother. Someone else.
I've got it. I know who it is we're gonna get.
All right, boy wonder. Who then?
Hamlin Buckman.
Who?
Hamlin Buckman, you remember that bastard who started all those rumors about us?
In Michigan?
It would be so satisfying to censure that salacious little prick and think of the poetic justice.
Poetic justice will not get us any ransom. My dear friend, if we were to eliminate this rather obvious enemy, we would be under immediate suspicion. Besides that, he's obese.
Well, that's true.
If you want to deal with 500 pounds of Hamlin Buckman, be my guest.
No.
I'm not going to. I've got it. Richard Rubel.
Dick Rubel.
Of course. Think of it. We'd be sure to be asked to be pallbearers. Or at least I would. Sorry, babe. You might have to sit this one out and watch from the sidelines.
What?
All very serious, of course. Imagine. I'd arrive at the house, dignified in gray, my funeral best. A simple cut, single-breasted. You know the type. I'd walk up to Mrs. Rubel and extend my hand with a slight tremor brought on by the profundity of the moment. Mrs. Rubel, I'd say, I just wanted you to know. No. A slight tear here, maybe. You have no idea how important Dick was to me. Then she'd shake my hand, properly moved by my sentiment, and we'd depart with solemn grace to the back of the house. The house. The whole house is covered in wreaths of black, shrouds and wreaths everywhere, and raven silk, and crinoline. Finally, we'd be led into the sitting room, or wherever they'd be hiding the coffin, all shining in black ebony, or something suitably glimmering. All the pallbearers shaking hands, dripping pathos and tragedy. Perhaps I could work in a feint. You think?
No.
Well, anyway, we take up the casket. A bit heavier than we had first imagined. Do we drop it? Yeah, no, that's too much. Finally, we hoist old Dick up onto our shoulders and proceed with stately cadence to maneuver him through the tight hallways and then burst into the bright sunlight. The passers-by and the newsmen, of course, would all be flashing pictures. They would all sympathetically doff their hats to us. Definitely tears here. And we would march past them with too much humanity to bear. And only you and I would know who done it.
Dick Rubel's almost as fat as Hamlin Buckman.
Boy, you simply won't give into a poetic moment, will you? All right, then. Who?
Johnny Levinson?
Maybe.
Bobby Franks?
Could be.
Irving Hartman?
Better and better.
Or Army Deutsch?
So many nasty little boys.
No.
Our problem is merely one of selection. Simple, simple, simple. Oh, oh, oh.
Why don't we leave it to the gods?
How exactly do you mean that?
I mean, leave it up to fate. Why don't we cruise around the Harvard School area and we'll just pick up the one that best fits us?
Just pick the first flower that smells right?
Exactly. Amour fati.
And we could leave the name on the ransom note blank and then
And then
just...
fill it in when we have our guest.
My dear boy, forget my comments as to your poetic sensibility.
Well,
or lack therein. This plan is the stuff of genius. Christ! I've gotta go. My mom's not up. Where could I have been tonight?
Jermaine's?
No, I said I was with Jermaine last night.
The library?
Yes, scholarly. She'll love that. We'll leave it to fate then. Our pact. We'll leave it to the gods. What?
Making up my mind to commit murder was like deciding whether or not I was going to have pie for dinner. The question was, would it bring me pleasure?
Dick, you've got to have some reaction to what you did. Something. Anger, pride, puzzlement, fear.
Nope.
I've tried to break down any feelings of affection that I had for my family. I've tried to kill all such affection for years.
On the afternoon of the murder, you stopped at a hot dog stand for a snack, right?
Yes, I had a hot dog with mustard and relish. 2, I think. But Babe didn't have anything.
And Bobby Frank's body was wrapped in a rug on the back seat all the while?
Yes.
Dick, why do you think you stopped to eat?
I was hungry.
My mother's death is one of those things that has most profoundly affected my philosophy of life. It seems to me that if God took away such a wonderful and exceptional person as my mother, then that God is a callous and selfish God, and I don't care to worship him.
Oh, yes, I also had a glass of milk.
After my mother's death, I realized that if I could convince myself that there was a life hereafter, that I could be happy. But I felt I must be intellectually honest with myself.
I've always had this one fantasy about being the head of a criminal gang.
And what was this gang like?
It was a huge serpentine organization. And I sat at the center and controlled all the permutations. Just like Al Capone. At the center of a tenacious web of crime.
Dick fantasizes a lot. When he begins to develop a new fantasy, he'll start off by saying,
And you know, Teddy,
this is a continuance into his present life, from a practice that was his as an infant. He used to take a teddy bear to bed with him, and he would say, and you know, Teddy, and then all of his fantasies would just pour forth.
and I would be in charge of all operations. Ruthless with a scar. You know?
And what sort of crime was this gang involved in?
Oh, forgery, smuggling, robbery.
Kidnapping?
Perhaps.
Babe, you have an astounding knowledge of philology. It says here you can speak 14
15.
different languages. 15?
Yes, I'm taking a correspondence course in Sanskrit.
And how did the other criminals in this gang look at you?
They worshipped me.
Did you ever meet any of Dick's girlfriends?
Yes, one.
And?
I didn't much care for her.
And why's that?
She had an unfortunate penchant for using the word gosh.
Did you have lots of girlfriends?
Enough.
Nathan have a lot too?
Nathan is rather restrained.
I see. Did he have lots of friends?
Not really.
Are you his best friend?
I suppose I am.
Are you his only friend?
Would you say that you make friends easily?
I wouldn't say so, no.
Did you have many puppy love affairs growing up?
Puppy love affairs? No.
Now, according to your baby book, you laughed at for weeks and learned your first words from your German governess, 9 mama. You walked at 5 months and learned your first prayer at age 3.
Ich bin klein. Mein Herz ist rein. I am small. My heart is pure.
It's a pretty standard psychological exercise. You'll just tell me the first word that pops into your head. For example, I might say hot, and you might say,
Cold. Got it.
all right. Day,
Night.
father,
Bank.
sky,
Bird.
doctor,
Tedious.
drink,
Flask.
Al Jolson,
Mammy.
blood,
Sticky.
snow,
Fall.
Richard Loeb,
Day.
Time.
Night.
Dance.
Girl.
Silky.
Hair.
Valentino.
Boy.
Baseball.
Cat.
Spine.
Father.
Mother.
Murder.
Newspaper.
Did Dick have lots of friends?
Yes, tons.
That bother you?
From hence, your memory death cannot take. Though in me each part will be forgotten.
That's nice.
That's Shakespeare.
I know. Sonnet 81.
Well, Babe always had this one fantasy. He called it the king and the slave. Sometimes he was the king and sometimes he was the slave. But mostly he was the slave.
In some way or other, I usually saved the life of the king. the king, who was always very strong and exceptionally beautiful, was grateful and wanted to offer me my freedom, but I always refused. There were often king's banquets where each king would bring forth his body slave to serve as his champion in mortal combat. Oh, I would fight for hours for the honor of my king. I always won. We were chained as slaves, but I was chained with only a tiny golden band that I could have easily broken.
Of course, the medical profession demands such psychological classifications, but it is hardly for one, or more than one of my profession to make any pronouncements as to the psychological stability of the patient studied under the most artificial of circumstances. For example, one might cite the analysis of the sexual pact initiated by Leopold and Loeb that was set up in a paralegal
I
format.
beg your pardon, Dr. White? Are you referring to a homosexual pact between Leopold and Loeb?
Yes,
And when was this pact created?
around the middle of November 1923.
And what was the substance of this contract?
This compact, as told to me by both the boys, was an agreement that Leopold would be able to... Do you want me to be specific?
Absolutely.
Well, in essence, their agreement was an even exchange of sexual activity for criminal activity. Leopold would take part in crimes primarily to accommodate Loeb, and Loeb would take part in sexual acts primarily to accommodate Leopold. Leopold had the days of the sexual interactions marked on a special calendar, and on these days Leopold, who had for many years a great deal of fantasy life surrounding sexual activity, usually with Loeb himself, would have the opportunity to explore certain areas he found to be of
Sure do envy your trip to Europe, babe.
I'm looking forward to it. I should learn a lot. I wish you were coming too.
Oh, you'll have a fine time without me. Besides, if I was with you, who would you have to write to?
Well, that's true. But I can imagine my anticipation on the boat on the way home. Anticipation can be very rewarding. Will you meet me at the docks?
Sure.
You're nervous.
Nonsense.
You shouldn't be nervous.
I'm not.
Okay. Say, what's the date today? The 16th?
I know the date.
Well, the 16th is one of those days that we contracted.
Look, I know that! Just let it rest! Christ! Look, I'm sorry, I didn't mean
No.
to yell.
No, it's all right. I understand. But you don't.
Don't what?
You don't understand.
Don't understand what, babe?
Forget it, Dick.
No, what?
You don't understand how it makes me feel. What it feels like.
I can't say anything, can I? There's nothing for me to say, is there? Is there? Is there, babe?
Leopold says he gets a thrill out of anticipating it. Loeb would often pretend to be drunk, and then Leopold would undress him, and they'd be fiercely passionate at times. Even in jail, a look at Loeb's body or a touch of his shoulder thrills Leopold, so he says immeasurably.
Found in swamp. Kidnapped rich boy found dead.
Bobby Franks found dead in marshes.
The police remove body from culvert. The hunt for clues begins.
What happened? Why? Why? These are the questions that flood through the minds of the citizens of Chicago, and mothers across the city hold their babies a little more closely while the mad killer of little Bobby Franks continues to haunt Chicago.
The icy finger of suspicion continues to cruise over Chicago, alighting for a moment on this school teacher, on that postman. May 24th, Bobby Franks died fighting.
May 25th, State's Attorney Robert Crowe promises quick justice and a hanging.
I'll have the killer swinging by Christmas, says fighting Bob Crow. May 26th, all city hunts for killers. Police call crime the strangest and most baffling in Chicago history. May 27th, Bobby Franks, buried today.
After a brief service at his home today, little Bobby Franks was laid to rest under the quiet arbors of Rose Hill Cemetery. The crowd was silent and pensive as they watched the solemn corpse of Bobby Franks' little school chums carry the tiny coffin from the Franks home to the waiting hearse. A tiny hearse for a tiny coffin for a tiny body. In the grim faces of the assembled crowd, one thought could clearly be seen. Who could do such a thing?
Poor Bobby. I can just see him playing tennis now.
Excuse me, did you actually know Bobby Franks?
Oh yes, he was my cousin. Or he was, I guess.
What's your name, kid?
Richard Loeb. Loeb. I live about 4 houses down. You see the one with the big red gates? I just feel awful about poor Bobby. He was so young.
And how did you feel when you found out your cousin had been murdered?
Gosh. I guess I felt scared. I mean, is no one safe anymore?
And how did you feel watching his funeral today?
Well, actually, all those gray-faced little boys made me nervous.
Listen, tell us something about Bobby.
Oh, he was always a good tennis player. We used to play at our courts. He always kept his eye on the ball, followed through with his backhand. He was very limber, but you know how kids are at that age.
No, I mean personally. What was he like?
Oh, I didn't know him, really, but he could be pretty annoying. You know, arrogant.
Really?
Oh, yes. As a matter of fact, if I were going to find someone to kidnap and murder, it would be a cocky little bastard like Bobby Franks. Remember, that's Loeb.
May 28th. Al Capone declares organized crime not responsible for Frank's murder.
We don't kill babies, snarls Scarface Al. The Chicago Tribune offers $5,000 for any exclusive information.
Chicago Herald and Examiner offer $10,000 for any new clues.
The police raid opium den. Must be the work of a drug-addicted mind, cries Police Commissioner Downs. Police out in force, scouring crime scene for clues.
Hey, Dick, did Sam let you up?
No, I just came up.
Oh,
Where are your glasses, babe?
what?
Your glasses. Where
Uh,
are they?
I don't know. They must be in my other coat.
No, they're not.
No?
No.
All right, where are they?
The police have them!
What?
Glasses found by Buddy.
Oh, God.
Police theorize that the owner of the glasses found by Bobby Franks' body can be located. The killer must be close by.
No, I couldn't have dropped them. They must be in my other coat.
How could you have done this?
Dick, I couldn't
You
have
dropped your
dropped them.
fucking glasses?
I swear.
Great! Right by the body. Why didn't you just leave a note with your address on
I
it?
didn't.
Chicago Daily News, May 29th. Murder glasses a rare prescription. Arrest, promise. Optometrists work day and night to trace Frank's murder glasses.
May 25th. Crow sniffs out owner of murder specs.
On the 21st.
We had lunch at the Marshall Fields Grill, and then Babe wanted to go bird watching. So I thought, what the hell? There are all sorts of birds, if you catch my meaning.
Dick brought along a flask of gin and a flask of scotch, so I'm afraid we didn't get much bird watching done that afternoon.
May 30th. Suspects under question.
Now, scotch and gin, are you quite sure about that?
I'm quite sure, yes.
Well, Babe didn't want to go home with liquor on his breath, so we had dinner at the Coconut Grove on 53rd and Ellis. You know it?
I'm afraid not.
It's very nice.
I'm sure.
So Dick and I, we cruised around on 63rd looking for girls.
For girls.
For girls.
2 suspects questioned in Frank's murder.
So we picked up these 2 hotsies named May and Edna, but they wouldn't put out. You know how that is.
What did they look like?
Edna was this real redheadish. May was this more poltradunius dark hair. She had some sort of mole on her cheek. Maybe it was a scar.
May had a mole on her cheek.
Now, May was the redhead.
No, May was the brunette.
And after this, you went home?
Correct, sir.
Teen millionaires named as suspects.
And then Babe took me home. And that was it. At least I think that's it. I don't remember anything else of importance on the 21st.
And you were in Babe's car the entire day?
Right. It's a Red Willie's night.
And you were in your car the whole day?
My car, the whole day.
Your Red Willie's night?
Yes, sir.
May 30th. Frank's case near conclusion. Leopold and Loeb under intense interrogation.
We've got a problem, Nathan. You weren't in your car on the 21st because your chauffeur says he was working on the car all that day.
Sven must be mistaken about the date.
He was working on the car that day because you had specifically asked him to fix a squeak in the brakes. Isn't that right?
Yes, but he must be mistaken about the date.
See, his daughter was very ill that morning, and he had to take your car very briefly to bring her to the doctor's office. Not to worry, of course. He asked your father, and he got a dated prescription.
Ah.
Alibis under question. Where were they that day and what were they doing?
So you weren't in Leopold's car.
We were his Red Willie's
Don't
night.
fuck with me, Dick!
We were his car. The 21st, I'm sure.
May 31st. Leopold and Loeb cracking under pressure.
Alright, here's the thing. Almer Cohen Company made 3 very ordinary pairs of glasses last year. Very ordinary pairs of glasses with the same prescription lenses. See, it's not the lenses that are special. It's the hinges. The hinges on the frames. Now see, these particular hinges were made by the Bob Rowe Optical Company in Brooklyn, New York. Unique hinges. Lovely, unique hinges. And 3 people in Chicago bought these very ordinary glasses with these very unique hinges. The first was a man who's been in Europe for the last 6 months. The second was a woman who was wearing her glasses when she came to greet me at the door. And the third was purchased on November 7th, 1923 They cost $11.50, and they were purchased by one Mr. Nathan Leopold Jr. I think you dropped these.
It's over.
June 1st, Leopold and Loeb confess.
Exclusive to the Herald and Examiner, Leopold's confession. The biggest problem was getting a victim. That was left undecided until that day. We decided to take the most likely looking subject that came our way. Bobby Franks happened to be that particular subject.
Wednesday, May 21st, 1924. George Luck pitches second no-hit game run of prep season.
Third volcanic week. Lillian Gish in the White Sister.
Coolidge tries chlorine gas to dispel the cold.
Marshall Fields announces spring white sale.
Just think of it. After months of planning, here we are. Just us. Alone against the hollow judicial systems of this nation. Ah, the audacity, I hear you cry. No. Just the natural experimentation of the two Supermen. Isn't that right, babe? Ubermensch?
Right.
Damn right. Soon, soon, soon. When this delicious but agonizing suspense is over, and we have finally made our... Make it right here. We have finally made our selection, and are admitted into the pantheon of the gods. That rare and select society that demands violent deeds bravely performed for admission.
Hey, look.
Johnny Levinson. God.
Forget it, Dick. There's way too many people.
No, stop, please stop. He's too... Johnny! Hey, Johnny! How you doing? Sure. Say, you need a ride home? My pal and I were heading right past your house, and I thought we could just... Oh, yeah. Of course. You, playing at the lot by the Harvard School? No. Just wondering. Yeah. We'll see you later. Lucky son of a bitch. No good. He said I'm playing baseball. I suppose we could drive around until he's on his way home from the game and then...
Well, that would seem suspicious, don't you think? To have just been passing twice.
Wait, let me think.
This could be the wrong day, you know. Maybe it'd be better if we came back tomorrow or next week.
Or next year? Sure.
But if there's no one around here today, then what's the use of it?
We'll wait around the game and see if anyone leaves early.
What?
We'll wait around the game and see if anyone leaves early. Alone.
And then?
And then we do it, babe. Come on, start the car. Now, you can just pull right on in here and watch the whole game. All right. We have David gets at bat. Bobby Franks on first. Little Johnny Swinebeck on third. Phil Kruger. Wait, who's that? Irving Hartman. Maybe.
And if no one leaves early? There's a lot of people out here, Dick, and you talked to Johnny Levinson. Don't you think that they're going to be able to make the connection?
No.
I think it would be better if we waited for another day.
Do you?
It could be better. We don't want to take any undue risks, especially after all the care and planning that we've already put into this. We don't want to ruin the whole affair just because we were being
If
too
you're
hasty.
afraid, just admit it.
I'm naturally apprehensive. Not afraid.
Right. You'll go through with this. And you know why? Because I want you to, dear boy. Because we have an agreement that constitutes that you will go through with this. And I needn't explain that Bobby Franks is leaving the game.
What?
Bobby Franks is leaving the game alone.
Oh, God.
The little monster's walking home alone. He's leaving alone. Babe, this is it. Start the car, come on! Drive slowly, that's it. Calm, calm, calm. Keep calm, old buddy. This is it. This is what we've worked for.
Dick?
Babe.
Should I pull up beside him?
Right. Nice and slow. Bobby! Bobby Franks! Hiya. Playing a little ball? Sure. Say, Bobby, do you need a lift home? My pal and I were heading right past your house, and I figured we could just take... Oh yeah, of course. Well, if you say so. See you later! Bobby! I wanted to talk to you about that racket. Oh, you know. The one I'm working on for you? Sure. Climb on in. Say, do you mind if we drive around the block? Great. Well, you see, Bobby, the problem with the racket is that I don't really have the right strings, so I just... Ah! Oh! Oh! Oh my God! Oh my God! And within a block of his own home. Well, that's life, right? Really, get a hold of yourself. It all turned out just like we planned. In fact, it went better than we planned. Right? Everything turned out beautifully. It was a work of art. A work of art.
Just like swatting a fly.
Society requires there be no slipping of the wheels of justice in this case. No homespun pleading or dramatic elocution can lessen the severity of this crime. It demands the punishment be meted out with the same rigorous impartiality of that old law that recognized no newfangled mental psychosis. And that old law instructs us, thine eye shall not pity, for life shall go with life. Eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, and foot for foot.
Eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, and foot for foot. Hand for hand, foot for foot, finger for finger,
Toothbrush for toothbrush.
cheek to cheek.
Teeth for two.
Mr. Darrow,
Dick.
Mr. Darrow, this is my friend, Nathan Leopold.
Well, nice to meet you, Nathan.
It is indeed a profound honor to meet you too, Mr. Darrow. I've often remarked to my father of my admiration for your complex legal arguments and, well, the mechanics of your mind.
Will you be defending us, sir?
Yes.
I can't tell you how happy I am that you decided to take our case. Mr. Darrow is an old friend of the family. He's known me forever.
Well, that's nice.
Sure. All seems a bit more pleasant that way. And it sure seems as if we're going to need the
Now,
best.
hold on, Dick.
Mr. Darrow?
Did you boys kill Bobby Franks?
Oh, yes.
My God. Why?
I don't think you'd understand.
Try me.
What'll I do when you are far away and I am blue? What'll I do? What'll I do when I am wondering who is kissing you? What'll I do? What'll I do with just a photograph to tell my troubles to?
Of course we could do it.